Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? Welcome to Saturday Night Live with Lady D. I'm your host, Lady D. Yes, I did the SNL, just like the used to be funny show that happens on NBC. Instead of doing Saturday Night Live with Lady D, I'm doing SNL. So, Soul Tribe family. I'm not going anywhere. I'm looking at the chat and people are saying, is Lady D going anywhere? No. When I said hello 5D, goodbye, giving a fuck, I meant for everyone. It's we're in 5D and it's goodbye, giving a fuck. But trust me, if I could like just flash to 5D, I would. No offense. I love you all. But, you know, 5D. 5D is just way too phenomenal. All right. So, Chrissy is not feeling well tonight. She had a migraine. So, everyone say a prayer that Chrissy feels better. She sends her love. She says she misses everyone, but she's not feeling good. The Prince of Peace, he's on his the Prince of Peace is not usually on my show Saturday night. I saw someone in the chat ask. I will be on his channel tomorrow night. We have our regular Sunday show that will happen tomorrow on the Light Warrior Network. So I'll be on with the Prince of Peace. As far as I know, I haven't heard otherwise. So I'll be on with him tomorrow night on the Light Warrior Network. Last week having Jason on was a very special surprise. I usually go on his channel. So, folks, how many of you, and I see in the chat, you all stopped giving a fuck a long time ago? I love it because, folks, listen, between my life and all the readings and soul therapy sessions I do during the week, I know that not many of you have any fucks left to give. So this is good. But this show is basically going to be about how we are going to embrace our 5D self, how we are going to become more 5D, which is more connected to our higher self, our oversoul, your God self, whatever you want to say it, however you want to say it. I do readings all week long. I read and read tarot all week long. I don't want to do it tonight. I'm not doing it tonight. Saturday nights are spiritual encouragement. For those of you that don't know me, I woke up pretty late. Okay. I should have woke up sooner, but was more spiritual. Okay. I was so into reality creation. I've been spiritual for forever. I did not wake up until, well, I knew after 2020 something was going on, and I really knew, especially after once Trump was voted out and what was going on with the current administration, that something was going on. But I did not wake up until um, really until 2021. Later on, more towards 2022, is when I really, really woke up. And it wasn't until I'll say, actually, until the end of 2022, watching the Light Work, not the Light Work. Now, I was watching Jason and his previous channel, but I was never a truther. I watched all spiritual shows. And what has happened over the last year is that I've been so, because of my channel, and because of going on the Light Warrior Network, and because of being part of the Soul Tribe, and because of current events, I've done less spiritual shows and more truther or current event shows. And I want to get back to more of the spiritual shows. So the whole reason why I found the Prince of Peace, Jason, in the first place was because I was watching Brian Scott, and through Brian Scott, I found, what's his name? Jason Shirka. And through Jason Shirka, I found, believe it or not, I hate to say it, Ishmael Perez. And I found Kristen and Jason on Arcana Shores through Ishmael Perez. And the rest is history. So it doesn't matter that I don't follow most of these people anymore. The only one that I really follow is Brian Scott. I don't follow anyone else anymore. That's all I'm going to say about that. However, it got me to where I need to be. So I will fully admit it. I used to watch CNN and I was a Trump hater. And then I woke up. As spiritual as I am. So I'm telling you this because I went from despising Trump to absolutely loving Trump to defending Trump so much so that today, and I will fully admit it, wasn't very spiritual of me. I'll fully admit it. It wasn't very spiritual of me, but I'm going to admit my sins. I was driving from the grocery store and there were a bunch of women, a bunch of white, middle-aged women, higher class women that were holding Paris Vance signs. And I was driving by them and then waving at me. And you know what I did? I went this. I gave them the finger. Was that very spiritual? No. Did it make me feel good? Hell yeah. You want to know why? Because I don't give a fuck. Anyone who's a pedophile is a fucking and wants to vote for a pedophile lover gets the double whammy from me. Okay? Yeah. Of course they're voting for Harris Vance. They're rich white bitches. They're the biggest problems that they have because I live in a well-to-do area. I'm not well-to-do, but I live in an affluent area. The biggest worry that they have is whether or not where they're going to go to lunch or where they're going to have their nails done, or where they're going to have their assholes bleached. That's their biggest concern. But folks, I digress. I tell you these things because I want to come on here because I want to give it to you straight. I want to give it to you real like I always do. Because I'm tired, so tired of these spiritual teachers coming on here and acting as if they walk on water and they're prim and proper and that you have to be love and light all the time. And that is not the case. People that get on and people that are spiritual teachers or spiritual gurus, they are human. So I tell you this because two things that even people that are very, very spiritual, highly spiritual connected can wake up at the last minute. There's hope for everyone and never give up that hope. Now I'm going to get back to saying hello to 5D and goodbye to giving a fuck. We have been very, very focused, and I noticed I've been very, very focused on the 3D clown circus. We're not even in 3D. We're in the 4D clown circus. That is this world. And the show I did last week on this channel with Jason, Prince of Peace, my soul brother, when he was talking about not giving a fuck, it dawned on me. You know, sometimes we have spiritual concepts and sometimes we're taught things and we know things. And then sometimes we get off track. And we've all, I think, in the soul tribe, and I'm going to speak for myself. I can't speak for everyone. We've been very, very hung up in the 4D clown circus and politics and world events and current events. And I'm not saying that it's wrong because we should. We have to know what's going on because it's very tied into the spiritual war, the spirituality and the physicality of everything. It's a spiritual war and it's a physical war. However, we want to get to 5D. We want to ascend. And every single one of us that's here, we're suffering. We don't want to be in this clown circus anymore. We don't want to focus on it anymore. We want to ascend. We want to level up. We don't want to be a part of it. We don't want to consent. We don't want to be in it and focus on it anymore. And we have to empower ourselves and not worry about when things are going to happen. And the biggest thing that I think that we've all lost track about is that we can't wait for an ascension, a solar flash, whatever, an alien invasion, the, what do you call it? The rapture, whatever you believe. Oh my God. Monica Murray, for you to make a statement like that, when you come on and act like a troll, who are you kidding, sweetheart? The only hateful person was the person who just made that comment. Go look in the mirror, sweetheart. There is no hate here. It's called projection. And if you are that feeling so low about yourself that you have to go on someone's channel and put them down to make yourself feel better, then I feel bad for you. What's the matter, Monica? Did your mother not love you enough? Do you have to go on and act like a troll to make yourself feel better, to make yourself so superior? Do you think that gives you any moral high ground? You call me hateful and then you make a hateful comment. That's called being a hypocrite. Put down the stone, Monica Murray. You're a fucking sinner too, bitch. But thanks for the view. Cheers. No, I don't need a stand-in moderator. What happened? We had a troll. That's what happened. And you know what, folks? Let's talk about trolls, okay? Let's talk about trolls. Trolls come on your channel. They try to publicly humiliate you and put you down because they don't feel good about themselves. They have to point fingers because they're so insecure about themselves. They're so hypocritical and fucking dumb that they accuse you of being nasty and hateful when they're doing something nasty and hateful. So that's what's going on. Okay? I'm not Jesus Christ. I never presented myself to be, nor am I hateful. I will give you the shirt off my back. But when you are a troll, I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm not going to turn the other cheek. When you come at me and you bully me and you make nasty remarks, I'm not going to turn the other cheek. I'm going to punch you in the fucking cheek so you know that what you did is nasty and you shouldn't do it anymore. You're hateful, but I'm going to leave a hateful comment, and that gives me the moral high ground, right, Monica Murray? Those are the same people that won't say fucking douchebag, but they'll act like fucking douchebags, right, Monica Murray? Cheers. All right, Soul Tribe family. So let's say hello to 5D and goodbye to giving a fuck. Now, what was happening? So before the egregious troll came on, because she needs attention, her mama didn't love her enough when she was a baby. We were talking about 5D and how to get to 5D. Now, to get to 5D, we don't have to wait for a solar flash. Okay? We don't have to wait for a solar flash. We don't have to wait for the rapture. 5D happens by our focus, by our attention. So, how do we do this? Now, people seem to think that we have to change ourselves in order to change the world. No, 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 no. That's not how we do it. How do we say hello to 5D and goodbye to giving a fuck? By not focusing on what we do not want to expand in our life, by not focusing on what we don't want in our life. Whatever we don't want more of, we have to ignore. That's the key. We've been taught in 3D, and we're not even in 3D, we're in 4D. We've been taught that the outside world determines our vibration and where we are. We've been taught that we have to see it, we have to feel it, we have to taste it. I mean, physically feel it, like touch it like it's a solid object, not feel it emotionally. We have to feel it, object, taste it, see it, hear it, smell it in order for it to be real. But that's the opposite. We know that we've been living in an opposite. We've been living in a false matrix that Cabal made. We haven't been living in the creative God divine matrix. We've been taught that we have to work really, really hard. And then maybe, if we're lucky, if we're good enough, and if we pray to God enough, and if we say enough Hail Marys, and if we've been good enough and we haven't sinned, then maybe this God in the sky, this benevolent God, will grant us our wishes. And if we didn't get our wishes granted, that must mean that we were bad and we ate meat during Lent on Fridays and we swore too much, or I don't know, maybe I didn't go to church enough. We've been taught all of these things by the world. We've been lied to. Now, we know that sometimes no matter what we focus on, there's going to be bad things in this world because we can't control everyone. We can't control the outside world. Yes, we can control the weather, and sometimes when there's a group collective, we can control the elements, and we do have that ability. It says it right in the Bible. But what I'm saying is that we can't control what's going on in the world. We can't control politics, the 4D clown circus. We can't control our parents. We can't control our kids. We can't control society. We can't control whether there's going to be an election or not. But what we can control is whether we're going to be in 5D or not. Do we want to live in 4D? And we want to wait for a fucking selection or the cabal or anyone? Or do you want to be in 5D now? Do we want to be in 5D now? And if we want to be in 5D now, that means that we have to stop giving our focus and our attention and our emotions and our aloosh to the 4D clown circus. We know, we've been told ad nauseum that what we focus on creates our reality. Now we're in 5D now, okay? We're been in between 4D and 5D, which means that the energy is 5D is there. Now, our whole earth, Mother Gaia, the whole earth has not ascended, technically has not ascended into 5D yet. But the energy of 5D is here, which means that we have access to our 5D selves. Now, and I'm not going to sit here and pontificate and tell you what to believe. There are some people that believe there is going to be a solar flash. There are some people that believe there's going to be a rapture. There's some people that believe there's going to be a great sound event. There's some people that believe there's going to be a light event or a vibration. Whatever you believe, that's fine. You don't have to buy everything I'm selling. Take what resonates with you and leave the rest. This is not a religious show, although I all believe in God and Yeshua, and I know God and Yeshua is real. But this show is about embracing our God selves. It's about our connection to God and Yeshua Jesus. About embracing ourselves and empowering ourselves by becoming the 5D light beings we are now in physical form. Whether or not you believe there's going to be some big event that's going to take the earth into 5D, I do believe that at some point. But I do know that we have to get to a certain point vibrationally as a collective before that happens, which means that we have to personally ascend. And the only thing that's coming between us and personally ascension is us and ourselves, no one else. That means that we have the ability to ascend now. We don't have to wait for that big event. It is not going to be a snap, one and done. It's a gradual process. So when I say hello 5D and goodbye to giving a fuck, what do we have to say goodbye about giving a fuck about? Giving a fuck really about our lives. We have to stop giving a fuck about what's happening in the world, what's happening with the Joneses, what's happening with our family, what's happening with our kids, what's happening with our husband, what is happening outside of you. We have to stop giving a fuck about because we have no control over it. We have to stop giving a fuck about finances because finances are falling and the money system's falling. We have to stop giving a fuck about what our people think about us and if people think we're crazy. We have to stop giving a fuck about bills and about credit and about our homes and about all these things that are not going to be important to us very, very soon. I said in many shows, we've given 2 weeks notice to this life, meaning, when you end a job, right? You've lived in a you've gone to work and you were in a really, really toxic work environment. So, and you couldn't take it anymore. And finally you found another job. So you went in, you gave you 2 weeks notice, right? You're like, I'm done. Take this job and shove it. Well, that's what we're saying now. Take this 4D life and shove it. We aren't working in here no more. We're not going to be living here much longer. Just like that 2 weeks notice that you gave that job in that toxic environment, we have given our 2 weeks notice to this life and we are not going to be here soon. We are transient. It is very, very soon. So we have to stop giving a fuck about the things that no longer serve us. And that means anything that gives us stress, anything. Because right now it's just two choices: God or Satan, love or fear. So it's either you trust God and give everything to God and know that God is going to take care of you and he loves you. And if you believe that God is your omnipotent mother, father, source, creator, whatever you want to call God, insert your label. But if you really believe that source, that omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient being, God, creator, almighty source, all that is, the great central sun, whatever you call God, if you really believe that he has your back, she has your back, God has your back, then we need to embrace that. And it also means, too, that the world does not dictate our vibration and our creative ability. Meaning that the reason why our lives are shit is because we've been vibrating to the outside world. We've been looking at the outside world and outside circumstances to determine our mood, to determine our emotional state, and determine whether or not we are ever going to be able to manifest what we want. If your life is not the way you want it to be, and I take full responsibility, mine isn't either. That's because I've been focusing on all the things too much of what I don't want. I've been focusing on the outside world instead of focusing on my vibration. The key to manifestation, the key to manifesting, the key to being your 5D self is to be in charge of your vibration, is to embrace your God self, meaning that you are a creator. You are an infinite creator. And your frequency, Your vibration determines your world, your experience, your relationships, your outside experience. Why do you think two people can watch the same event and two people can have two different versions of what happened? Why do you think two people can walk down the street and one person is going to get mugged by a criminal and one person is not going to be chosen by the mugger? You attract what you are vibrating. So, folks, we are not responsible for the clown circus, the shit show that's going in, what's happening in the United States and in the world. That's Satan and his crew. That's the cabal. However, we are responsible for our own lives. Now, I'm not saying that if something bad happens to you or if someone dies, that you did it and that's your fault. Okay? Shit happens. Bad things happen to good people. Even people that have Brady Bunch perfect lives, bad things happen to them too. No one has a perfect life. No one goes without sadness, struggles, stress, depression. Everyone goes through it. However, if you have a pattern in your life of poverty, if you have a pattern of being fucked over by people, if you have a pattern of depression and bad relationships and your whole life is just been shit, or you have a pattern, that means that you have been vibrating on what you don't like so much that you just look at it and you observe it and you've identified with it, and that's you're getting more of that. Now, again, I'm not gaslighting anyone, and I'm not blaming you for bad things that happen. I'm not blaming you for people that betrayed you and fucked you over. I'm just saying that now is the time that we have to stop being victims to this world and start being the infinite 5D creators that we are. Because instead of complaining that we want President Trump back and we want the cabal done and we want disclosure, we're not going to wait for anyone else. We're going to take the bull by the horn, take the bull by the horns. We're going to take the ball, put it in our court, and we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to take back our power, because the most disempowering thing is waiting for someone else to do it for you. It's waiting for someone else to be something, to do something, or to change, or for waiting for people to change for you to be happy. We have to be happy, because when we're happy, we create happy circumstances. Now, I'm not saying that this is easy, because it's not, especially for the fact that we've been programmed. We've been programmed to react. We've been programmed that we have to be happy all the time. And if we're not, then there's something wrong with us. But that's okay, because now that we know the truth, now that we know that we are our own creators, we are infinite creators, that we have the ability to impact and change our lives. We have the ability to do everything. We have the ability to heal ourselves. We are no longer limited to 3D. So now is the time for us to forgive ourselves, forgive others, to not look back, and to know that we are not the stories that people made up of ourselves. We're not the things that we did. We're not the mistakes that we made. We're not the labels that people give us or that we've given ourselves. We are infinite creators. We are 5-dimensional light beings having a human experience. And we know this. But right now, what's happening is that our egos, which is that false self, that the part of the brain, the left part of the brain that navigated us, that helped us through the 3D false matrix. But now that ego, as much as we love it and it served us, we need to stop listening to that so much and start listening to more to the 5D self. So, how do we say hello to 5D and say goodbye to giving a fuck when bad things happen, when people let us down, when we're depressed, when we're sad, when there's bills to pay, when you lost your job, your husband left you, your best friend died, your dog's sick, you lost your home? You feel what you feel. You feel your feelings. You don't judge them. You don't beat yourself up. You feel your feelings. But this is how you do it. When you feel those feelings of dread, of emotion, of sadness, of anger, what you have to do is feel them, but try not to act on those feelings. Just think about every time that you have made a choice, a decision out of fear. How did that turn out for you? How did that decision turn out for you? Any decision that you make out of desperation, out of fear, fear of lack, fear of not having enough, fear of being alone, fearing of not having enough. Every time you have made that decision based on fear, it might work out for a little bit, right? But does it does it work out in the long run? No, it doesn't. So co-creating with God is very simple. The first thing you do is that you don't do anything out of fear. If you're in lack, if you're worried, if you're stressed, if you don't know what to do, the best thing that you can do is nothing. That's right, nothing. Because anything that you do from the energy of a negative emotion, it is not going to turn out right. It is not the energy of God. It is not the energy of creation. The energy of creation is done from passion, from love, from interest, from fun, from joy. We do not have to get on our knees and pray to God and beseech Him and say, God, 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 please let this happen. I've been really, 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 really good. I've said all my prayers and I did this and I did that and I didn't swear and blah, blah, blah. No. We've been taught in the Bible, ask and it is given, seek and you shall find. And God's words don't come back void. That means that when we speak, it is done. It is already done. And then people say, well, how do I know if 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 I have the right to what I want? Maybe what I want is I'm not good enough. Maybe it's too grand. How could it possibly happen? I don't understand how it can happen. How could it possibly happen? How can I do this? How can I go from making no money and being broke to making $10,000 a month? How can I go from being loveless to being married with kids? How can I go with being 200 pounds overweight to being at my ideal weight? Okay, I can't give you each step by step, but all I know is that you become it by vibrating on it. You vibrate and close your eyes and envision how would you feel if you were the ideal weight? How would you feel if you were rich? How would you feel if you had the ideal marriage? Shout out to you, light worker Lizzie. I love you, girl. Thank you, honey. How would you feel if you had that job? You vibrate on the end result. Because folks, we've been taught that we have to change ourselves in order to make our dreams come true and to make our manifestations appear in our life, in our lives. But no, We change our states. And this is what I learned from gurus like Dr. Joseph Murphy, who used the Bible, who was a metaphysical author. He was also a reverend. He was a preacher. He had his PhD. I think he had PhD, his doctorates in medicine or psychology. And also Neville Goddard, who was also a spiritual guru. They've since passed away. And Neville Goddard also used the Bible. These two men that I never met, I learned so much about reality creation and our God-given power. And the reason why I love Dr. Joseph Murphy and Neville Goddard, and they're the two prime examples of reality creation, is because they do the spirituality, they bring the God in the Bible in it without being religious, and they use the scientific spiritual vibration of reality creation. They blend the science and the spirituality together. If you want it, if you're passionate about something, if you desire something so much it makes your heart sing, and it's something good, it's not, it's not killing somebody or wishing anyone ill, and it's not going to be anything a detriment to somebody else, you got that desire because it was inspired by God. If you want it, if you want it with all your heart and soul, and it's something that you're passionate about, and you love and you want it and you want to do it, it is yours. The reason why you desire it and you have a passion for it, and the reason why you want something is because it is yours. You wouldn't want it if it wasn't already yours. The reason why you desire anything is because it's your birthright. It's part of your soul's purpose. So don't ever think, oh, that can't happen to me. I don't have enough money, or I wasn't born in the right family, or I'm too fat, or I'm too skinny, I'm too old, I'm too this, No, you're limiting yourself to that 3D false matrix. We are in 5D. You do not limit God by seeing limitations in yourself. With God and yourself, all things are possible. And that's actually one of the affirmations from Dr. Joseph Murphy. I will repeat it. You do not limit God by seeing limitations in yourself. With God and yourself, all things are possible. Give it to God. Let go. Now, I'm not saying that you sit on your couch and don't make moves towards your goals. What I'm saying is that it is done. You don't have to work really hard and struggle and pray to God and, backbite and steal and thieve. You don't have to do those things. You don't have to bend over backwards and break your back to get what you want. All you have to do is vibrate on the end result. Picture the end result. Know it's done. Don't obsess about it. And then take inspired action. That means that you don't do things because you should do them, or you think you should do them, or everyone else is doing them, or you're doing it out of guilt. You don't do anything unless you are inspired to do it. Because when you do things out of guilt, or because you have to, or because it's what you should do, or people expect you to do, or it's because what everyone else is doing, that's not God-inspired action. You're being influenced by the world. So would you rather be influenced by the world or influenced by God? That desire is yours. God gave you that desire. You wouldn't desire it. You wouldn't want it if it wasn't yours. Now, the only thing that's keeping you from it is your vibration, your frequency. You have to vibrate on the frequency of your desire. Now, someone say, well, how do I know how to vibrate on the frequency of my desire when I don't even know the frequency of my desire? It's very simple. You want that desire because you know it will make you feel good. So you feel good. You focus on things that make you feel good. You focus on things that make your heart sing. You focus on things that give you joy, that make you laugh, that make you feel like a child again, that make you feel lighthearted. You focus on the reason and the feeling that you want to create by having that thing, that goal, that desire, that man, that situation, that woman. That's how you do it. We have to stop fighting against what we don't want because whatever we focus on expands. So, it's all this like the fight against cancer and the fight against AIDS and the fight against poverty. What is the universe hearing? Poverty, cancer, AIDS. You never fight against what you don't want because when you fight against it, you're giving energy towards it, right? Whatever you put your energy and focus on expands because that's your power of creation. Creation is focused energy. Anything that we focus on, that is our creative power. So instead of focusing on the things that we don't want, we have to focus on what we do want and the good things that are happening in our lives. That's very hard. That's extremely hard, especially when there's bills to pay and you're in the thick of it. Like I said before, the only thing that you can do is every day and every second and every day, you do the best that you can and you make the best choices you can to feel good with what you have. That means if you're having a shit day, you feel bad if you feel bad, you cry if you want to cry, you feel that emotion. But feel that emotion, feel it. I I make this mistake all the time, and this is something that's really big with people that are very intuitive and psychic, which all of you are. Is that because we feel an emotion, we feel that we are that emotion, or that means that this is our life, or this is going to happen, and we're never going to feel any better, and it feels so real, and it feels like it's going to be forever. And I'm talking about the negative emotions. But if we feel the emotion, and this is how you get through it. This is how you disassociate yourself from the emotion and you can split apart and disassociate and figure out which is the human egoic brain and your 5D higher self. When you're feeling anger, when you're feeling stress, when you're feeling sad or dejected or any type of emotion, say to yourself, who is feeling this emotion? Who is feeling this emotion? By just simply asking that question of who is feeling the emotion, that is when you understand and your higher self takes over because you understand that it's not the higher self, the oversoul, the 5D spiritual being that's feeling the emotion, the negative emotion. It's the human self. It's the ego self. It's not the higher self. So try it. The next time you feel, and I'm talking about prolonged feelings of sadness, anger, depression, all these negative emotions. And you start to internalize it and say, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Why am I feeling like this? What's up? What's wrong? What's going to happen? I'm always going to feel this way. It's never going to change. Just stop. Stop. Breathe in. Breathe out. Take big, deep breaths. Right? In, out. Breathe in and breathe out. Because when you breathe deep breaths, your body automatically calms down. It's very hard for you, for your heartbeat to go fast and for you to stay physically in stress when you do deep breathing. So you breathe deeply. Breathe in and you breathe out. And you feel the emotion. It doesn't matter. Pain, anger, ire, jealousy, fear, depression, anxiety, being pissed off. It doesn't feel the emotion. And then you feel it. And then you ask yourself, either to yourself or out loud, okay, who is feeling this emotion? Who is feeling this fear? Who is feeling this sadness? Who is feeling this jealousy? Who is feeling this despondency? And that's how you separate yourself. And that's how you tap into your higher self and you disassociate from your egoic, false matrix self. That's how you listen more to your right brain, higher self, oversoul, which is your spiritual self, your God self, and you listen less to that egoic self. That's how you become a spiritual 5D being. You don't have to wait for a solar flash. You don't have to wait for a rapture. You don't have to wait for a big cosmic event. And I'm not saying that a big cosmic event is not going to happen because I believe it is. I firmly believe it is. I'm saying that we can tap into all of this now. We don't have to wait. And we don't have to suffer. We're suffering for lack of knowledge. And now that we know, we have the power. Now, it's not easy. It is definitely not easy because we've been programmed since even before birth that our outside influences are real and they affect us. But it's not true. We are the change in the world. And this also means that once we change personally and we change our surroundings and we embrace a manifestation power, we, like the 100 monkey effect, we change the world. That means when we become the 5D beings and we're vibrating higher, we affect the collective just by us doing our work. So we don't have to wait for the masses to wake up. We can affect that change. We can help them wake up. We can help the collective vibration of the world just by us focusing on ourselves, disassociating from the clown circus, disassociating and ignoring the things that we don't want to expand and focusing on what we do want. We don't have to change who we are. We don't have to become completely different beings. We just have to focus and shift into who and what we already are. We already are the 5D light beings. We just have to shift that vibrational frequency to that. We have to take our focus off what we don't want. Now, this is very, very simple to conceive and to grasp, but it's very, very hard to do, especially when you have lots of 3D. Well, I keep on saying 3D, sorry, folks. I'll say physical worldly problems when we're living in a physical world. Yes, but you're a 5-dimensional being with 5-dimensional powers living in a false matrix 4D world. Your powers aren't going to come out to you and go, hi, I'm your supernatural power. Come and ignite me. You have to get quiet. You have to be okay with being alone. You have to be okay with meditating. You have to be okay with ignoring the world and turning off the television and turning off the constant need for information and tap into yourself. You have to practice. You have to imagine. But we're not going to tap into our 5D selves when we're still giving a fuck about the world, when we're still giving a fuck about outcomes. And that's another thing, attachments. Yeah, we got to talk about attachments. There is not one person in the world that is not attached to something. We all have attachments. We are attached to our friends, our families, situations. We all have attachments. But we need to learn to let go of attachments. It's okay to want a desire. But once you want something, you have to vibrate on it, imagine it, and let it go. And know that if it doesn't happen exactly the way you want it, and if it doesn't turn out exactly the way you want it, or even if it doesn't turn out at all, it is because of one thing and one thing only. Because God had something better for you and you were shortchanging yourself. And what God had intended for you is so much better than your wildest dreams. It is so much better than you could ever conceive. And it's so much better than your wish. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy of it. It doesn't mean that you can't have it. It doesn't mean that you did something wrong and you're a sinner. It doesn't mean that God doesn't love you. It just means that you are selling yourself short. It wasn't for your highest good. Or it means that, and most of the time, it means that God intended something bigger and better for you that is so much more magnificent and splendid than your wildest dreams. And if you settled for what you originally wanted, you wouldn't have been able to experience the magnificent splendor of what God created for you. God has a creation that's probably so much more magical and beyond your wildest dreams than your wildest dreams. You know what I'm saying? So, know if you want something, it's yours. If you desire something, you're worthy of it, or else you wouldn't have that desire. So you have the desire because it's yours. You don't know even the first thing about how you're going to get it. That's not your job to know. Your job is to take every day, every second and every day, and do the best that you can and make every choice be about what is going to bring me closer to happiness and joy at this moment. What is going to give me peace and pleasure at this moment? 5D is not going to happen in a big snap and I'm there. 5D is here. How we connect more to the vibration of our 5D selves is with every choice in every second of every day. So that means that when we walk through our day, instead of saying, what would Jesus do? Or what would Yeshua do? Which is not a bad thing to say. We can say, what would my higher self do? What would my overself do? Because that's the same thing. Yeshua, Jesus, God is within us. Our connection to Yeshua, Jesus is within us. That is what our oversoul, our higher self, that is our God, Yeshua connection. So we become the 5D beings. Every day we make every choice. We choose love over fear. And basically, it's either love or fear, good or evil. Do you believe God's report or Satan's report? Hate, envy, all those negative emotions, fear, love, joy, exhilaration, passion, good emotions, love. When we worry, when we ponder, when we ruminate, that's fear. When we trust, when we hope, when we let go, that's love. That's God. We become the 5D beings when we let go and we know it's done. We don't have to work so hard for it. All we have to do is let go and let God guide us. And how do we let go and let God? We stop the struggle. We stop the hard work. We stop the aim. We stop the back breaking. and we get quiet and we let it flow with ease. And we make choices that bring to us peace. And we let the signs and the synchronicities and the serendipities happen. We make conscious choices from inspired action, meaning that we do things because we're inspired to do so. We get that little urge, we get that little voice from God, we get an inkling, we get a desire. We follow our hunches, we follow our intuition. Because when we follow those hunches, those desires, those gut reaction, that little intuition and our desires, that that is the breadcrumbs along the trail that we're going to pick up and is going to lead us to our destination. God leaves crumb trails. God leads the way. He doesn't force. We say, God, I want this. And God says, it's yours, my child. It's yours. But I can't force it upon you. I gave you the power of creation. I gave you the desire. I gave you the will. Now your job is to let go, step aside, and let infinite intelligence make easy and successful your way. Your job is to step aside, get out of my way, and to let me give it to you. My job, your job, my child, is to go by your divine stirrings. Let me inspire you. And when you're inspired, and when I give you the inspiration, when I give you the hunches, when I give you the little voice inside, the little inspiration and hunches and the urge to do something, I'm leading the way to you. I'm showing you how to get there. Basically, God gave us the keys to the kingdom. And we don't even know that we have the fucking key, let alone how to go into the lock and turn it. God's saying, my child, my children, I gave you the keys. This is how you go up to the lock and put it in the lock and turn it and open the door to your desires. Okay, so let's recap. How do we say hello to 5D? Well, we're in 5D, folks. Hate to tell you, we're not in 4D, we're in 5D. Okay, the energy is 5D is here. We're technically, our planet is in 4D, but technically, the energies of 5D are here because we are getting ready as a globally to ascend into 5D. However, we do not have to wait to get for a big event, for a big mass ascension. We don't need to wait for Yeshua God or Yeshua or God to appear for us to embrace our God selves. How do we do this? How do we get to 5D? How do we get to 5D? Well, we're already here. We get to 5D by vibrating, by choosing choices of our 5D selves. We become our 5D selves by embracing the thoughts and the vibration of our 5D selves. How do we get to 5D? We're here. How do we become the 5D beings we are? We already are the 5D beings. We're not becoming them. We already are them. We vibrate and slowly shift. That's it. We shift. We do this by stop giving a fuck about the 4D, the clown circus, the situations, the people, the places and things, the bills, the tangible, the worries, the stress. And we focus on the world that we want. We focus on Eden. We focus on 5D. We focus on what we do want because we know that when we focus on what we do want and we take our focus away from what we don't want, we create what we do want. And even if we don't get what we want right away, we feel better. And that's the whole reason why we want what we want anyways, isn't it? To feel better. We are already the 5D beings we want to be, but we disempower ourselves. We need to stop doing this. So, every morning when you get up, you have choices to make. Am I going to focus on the world and the things that disempower me? Am I going to focus on fear? Or am I going to say a few prayers, do maybe a meditation, do some affirmations, and am I going to know that it's done? I'm going to ignore the things that I cannot control, not focus on the things that bring me down, and I'm going to focus on the things that make me happy. Every choice that I make, it doesn't matter how small or how big, every single step that I take in the direction of love, every time I choose love over fear, every time I make a decision based on love over fear, every time I base a decision over my higher self rather than my ego, I'm becoming more and more of my 5D self. It's a vibrational change, not a physical change. You change your body when you change your vibration. It's all about your state. We don't have to we don't have to work really, really hard to get things anymore. That is a false concept. That is a false matrix concept that we have to bust our asses and break our hides and beg and borrow and steal and go through shit to get what we want. No, 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 no. That's the old paradigm. That's the false matrix paradigm. We see what we want, we establish what we want, we vibrate on it, we say, this is what we want. We let go and we let God, knowing that it's going to happen. We let go of when and how and desired outcomes. And we know that it's going to happen. And I'm going to take inspired action. I'm not going to beg, borrow, and steal and get on my knees and pray, please, please, please. And I'm not going to cry and I'm not going to keep on looking when it's going to happen. Because every time we look and say, oh, it's never going to happen because it hasn't happened, we ruin it. You know that it's done. We know that it's done. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. When we let go of expectations and timing, because God's time is perfect time, and we know that it will happen at the perfect time, it will happen. And even if you don't get your desired outcome that you're attached to, like I said before, you will get something better, guaranteed. You will get something thousands of times better than you ever imagined because you were willing to let go and let God, because you were willing to trust, because you let go of your attachment to that desired outcome, because you knew in your limited, egoic, false brain matrix, left side thinking self that you might have been limiting yourself and you didn't have the full picture and you weren't able to see the expanded bird's eye view that God has. So, folks, I don't know about you, but I'm going to tap into my 5D self. I'm no longer going to vibrate on the things that I don't want. I'm no longer going to focus on the things that I can't control. I'm no longer going to hold on to attachments. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop wanting or desiring because That will never happen. We are infinite beings. We're always going to want and we're always going to desire, and we're never going to stop changing or evolving or moving forward because that is the basis of creation. That is the whole nature of reality and creation. God expands, energy expands. Spirit and energy is never going to stop expanding and growing. That is the nature of creation. That's why we create. That's why we have desires. That's why we have negative experiences because we have to experience a lot of what we don't want in order to know what we do want. In order to make the choices that we want, we have to get a lot of what we don't want to know what we do want. We have to have preferences. So now that we've had a mouthful of what we don't want, folks, it's time for us to create and focus on what we do want. That's it, folks. And like I said, sounds very simple, sounds very easy. Oh, I am not better than Joe Dispenza, but Joe Dispenza is another one. Everything that I'm teaching you tonight, I teach in my classes, I teach in my counseling sessions. I can't take credit. I've learned from the greats. I've learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza. I've learned from Dr. Joseph Murphy. I've learned from Neville Goddard. I've learned from many, many, many. I've done a lot of reading. I've been read every book. I've taken courses. I've learned from channeling. I've learned from being in the spiritual realm for many, many years. Like I said, the last year or so, being part of the Soul Tribe, I've turned more into, I focus more in what's going on with the global current events. And I've stopped listening to, Neville Goddard and Dr. Joseph Murphy. And I've focused less on the manifestation, which is good. And it's okay. I've learned my lesson, but I have to cut the shit because I haven't been feeling good. So I have to take back my power. I have to stop focusing on the world. And it's not saying that, of course, we're never going to be like ostriches and put our heads in the sand and ignore when our brothers and sisters in of the world are suffering. And it doesn't mean that we have to pretend like the toxic positive people in our soul tribe that want to pretend that everything is unicorn farts and rainbows and there's nothing negative. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying feel what you feel, cry, don't feel bad, don't try to analyze it, don't feel judged, feel what you feel, but then get over it. Know that this is something that's happening to you. It isn't you. It's not happening to you because you're a bad person or God doesn't love you or because you suck and you have bad luck. It's happening because shit happens, bad things happen. But you can make a choice of whether or not you are going to take this lesson and take this opportunity to be the victim, or are you going to feel what you feel, not judge it, take time, take care of yourself, be gentle on yourself, and then when you heal and you feel better, you move on and you keep going and you move head on straight forward. A bad day is not a bad life. A bad day, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean it's forever. It might feel like forever, but it isn't. To change your life, you change your state. Every time you want a desire, let's bring it down to like what Joe Dispenza talks about quantum physics. Let's talk about the nature of physical matter, okay? Because we all know that the nature of physical matter is not physical. That when scientists in quantum physics, they take the littlest tiny cell and they put it under a microscope, it's not physical at all. It's not stationary. The littlest tiny cell of matter, they noticed that when they brought it down, it wasn't solid. and it moved. And according to their focus on attention on that cell, depended on where it moved. If they focused on it one way, the cell would multiply in that way. If they focused on it the other way, if they put an intent, an emotion. Right there and then, scientists proved that matter and reality is not really physical. Matter is not stationary. It's not solid. Quantum physics scientists with brains and degrees finally, through quantum physics, proved what the spiritual folks in the spiritual sector have been saying all along, that thoughts create reality. But reality is not really real. It's a state of constant potentiality, meaning that when those quantum physics physicists, when those scientists looked at that cell underneath the microscope, that cell would perform and change according to their attention and their focus. And it would split. That one cell wasn't just one cell. It would split into masses, lines of other vibrating cells. And what it would do is depending on their focus and intent and the energy and the frequency that they foist upon those cells. So what does that mean in the big picture? It means that solid things that are solid aren't really solid. It means that even solid matter, something that we can touch like this, you bring that down under a microscope, it's vibrating matter. That means that we have the ability with our focus, with our intent, with our vibrational output, we have the ability to change matter. And if we have the ability to change matter, then we have the ability to change our lives, to change circumstances, and to change our world. So we are no longer the victims of this 3D, 4D, physical clown circus. There is no matter. It's all vibrating cells in the constant state of potentiality. So when you wake up tomorrow, when you open your eyes, every day you know that you died yesterday and you were reborn, and this day you're going to literally get up a new person. Because with your focus, with your vibration, you can literally change the world. You're literally not the same person, and you literally did not wake up in the same world. When you desire to be something different than you are already you created that reality, and it's in a parallel universe. So every time that you decide that you want to be something or do something, it's there. That desire creates that cell and it vibrates on that potentiality. So that means that those are the parallel universes that people talk about. Remember how people say, oh, in a parallel universe, that's all that parallel universes are. Is that every time we desire something, that parallel universe, that vibrational state, that frequency is there vibrating in that state of potentiality, like the cells underneath the microscope. It's there. Whether or not you vibrate and tap into that reality and slide into that reality is whether or not you experience that reality. Kind of like if a tree falls in the forest, can you hear it? If no one's there, does it make a sound? The answer is no, because you need somebody to have an ear to hear it, which means that reality, it's there, it's potential, but until you vibrate to that frequency and draw that reality to you, we don't see it. We don't touch it. We don't feel it. It's not there. So, folks, say hello to 5D. We're here. That means that we have to forget everything that we've learned because everything we've learned is a lie. We've been indoctrinated. We've been brainwashed. We've been disempowered. We've been taken away and disconnected from our spiritual selves. But the good news is that we have the power. We can take our power back. And we don't longer have to be the victims of this clown circus world, of this physical, ridiculous world. We have the ability to change by our focus. We have the ability to change our reality and to manifest our desires by saying goodbye to giving a fuck, by not giving a fuck, by being able to accept what is. And that's the last thing. This is the last and the hardest thing about letting go and letting God. Is to be okay with what is, to accept what is. It doesn't mean you have to like it. It doesn't mean that it's going to be forever. It doesn't mean that you have to love it. It just means that you are where you are. And you have to know that you are where you are for a reason. It will teach you something. It will bring you a lesson. It is a stepping stone to your next experience. You have to have hope and faith and trust that you are where you are for a reason and that you are on the right path. So that means that if you are constantly, how I say, not constantly, if you're in a situation that you don't like, you do the best that you can. If you can get out of it and change it, do so. But if you can't, accept it. Accept the situation. Know that you are where you are. It doesn't mean that you have to love it, like I said. It just means that you're not fighting against reality. When you fight against something, when you hate it so much and you resent it, you're giving a lot of passion and energy and focus towards it. But when you let go and you surrender and you say, I am where I am, I don't like it, it sucks, but I am where I am. I can't change it for now. It is what it is. It's temporary. It's transient. It's not forever. When you accept it, you take away its power. You no longer let it hold you by the balls. You no longer let it victimize you. Remember, when you resist anything, it persists. When you resist emotions, when you resist something, what is it? When you resist anything, what happens? You become obsessed with it. Anything that you resist, it comes up. So don't resist it. Feel it. Don't judge it. Accept it. But that's it. Accept it. Don't fight it. You could be in the worst situation there is. Yes, it sucks. And I'm not saying that you have to love it and that you have to pretend that it doesn't suck. No, I'm not saying lie to yourself. I'm not saying be delusional and pretend that it's good. I'm saying accept the situation. It is what it is and know that it will change. Have faith that it will change. It's a stepping stone. Try not to focus on it. Try not to obsess on it. Try not to ruminate on it. And try to walk in the direction of things that you like. In every second of every day, choose something that makes you a little bit happier. If you have the choice between walking in the rain or taking a nice car ride, take the car ride. Every second of every day, make a choice that is more based on love and joy. Do little things that make you happy. Be your best friend. Splurge on yourself. Buy yourself things that you would never buy. You have to be your own best friend. You have to be your lover, your mother, your sister, your brother. Start spoiling yourself. When do what you can. I'm not saying go into debt, but I'm saying go and buy something for yourself. Do something for yourself. Make yourself happy. Do little things that give you joy. It doesn't matter if it's what it is. Whenever you take a step into something that gives you a little bit of happiness, whenever you choose love, whenever in a situation you choose something that will give you a little bit of joy, whenever you decide to do something good for yourself, that is when you are embracing your 5D self. Right now, they want to suck us in to that 4D cabal timeline with the war and all the bullshit that's going on in global current events. Yeah, it's okay to be informed. None of us watch the lamestream media. So go on TikTok, go on Instagram, get your fix. But then you can't but don't stay on it all day. Don't focus on it day after day after day after day. I have to tell you, I have been completely not caring and not been focusing on anything. I don't know what's been going on lately. I have no idea. I haven't been watching Benny Johnson. I've had to take myself for the last couple of days away from everything, even the spiritual stuff. I have just been watching mindless, stupid, old, like, BritBox mystery theater with murder she wrote and stuff like that. Old television that doesn't have cabal or hidden messages because I just can't focus on the ascension and world events. I just needed to take my mind off of everything and just be little again and just watch mindless, stupid television and refocus because I was obsessing on what's going to happen to this and Trump and this and that. And I had to do it because, it's because of my work and because of my profession, I have to be in the know. But it's okay to take a mental vacation from everything. And that's what I did. Do that. It's okay. Take a day off from the ascension and the spiritual stuff. It's okay. You're not gonna go to hell from watching a movie. Do things that make you happy. Unplug. Turn off your phone. Turn off the screens. So, folks, welcome to 5D. Hello, 5D. We're here. We don't have to. There's not a big ascension that's going to happen that's going to get us there. Yes, that will happen eventually, I believe. If you don't believe in that, if that's not part of your belief, that's fine. What I'm saying is that you do not have to wait for anyone or anything, a big global event, a big mass ascension to be the 5D creator, to have the ability to manifest, to embrace and empower your 5D spiritual gifts. You don't have to wait for this big global ascension to tap into your 5D creative ability. We are infinite creators. We were in 3D. We are in 4 and 5D now. 3D's gone. Okay, we haven't been in 3D since 2012. The Earth ascended to 4D. We are now in 4D, going into 5D. But people like us, People on the front line, the sensitives, the empaths, the intuitives, the mediums, the people that are watching shows like this. We are on the front lines because we are the 100 monkeys. When we work on ourselves, when we practice vibrating higher, when we raise our vibration and we do our spiritual work, and when we personally ascend, we affect the global mass ascension. So the best thing that we can do to help people is to not fight with people and to try to get them to wake up and tell them what's going on. It's for us to do our work. When we vibrationally ascend, they will ascend, their energies will rise, and then once their energies have risen, they will awaken and they will start to be able to see the things that we are seeing. But right now, no matter how much we yell at them and no matter how much proof is out there, it doesn't matter. They're vibrating on 98.5 FM and we're vibrating on 26.2 AM. It doesn't matter if we show them the videos, the tapes, they're not going to see it because they're not vibrating on it. They're literally not going to able to comprehend because their operating system is working on old software. Our software has been upgraded. Theirs hasn't. Our operating system has been upgraded. And so the software that we're getting, the downloads from God, we can comprehend and understand. They can't understand. They're working on dot matrix printers and old ancient computers, and we're working on the fast computers. You get what I'm saying? Stop trying to convince people of anything. Convince yourself, focus on yourself, and that's all you need to do. Live like it's already happened. Now, what are the spiritual exercises that we can do to help us get into creation mode, to help us focus on what we want? Well, the biggest power we have, and how do I put it? The most creative ability and vibrational power we have is right upon awakening and right before we go to sleep. And this is because when our brain is tired or just when we wake up, we go and we change our brain waves. Okay? Delta, alpha, beta. So our brain waves are in spirit mode. They're more in that spirit brainwave pattern right before we wake up and right before we go to sleep. Right before we go to sleep when we're tired. And when we're tired, our physical 4D egoic brain starts to shut down, right? And we start getting tired. And that's when we go more into spirit mode and more of our 5D, that part of our brain, which is our spirit brain, starts to awaken. So you don't have to do 2-hour meditations. If you want, you can. But there's very simple techniques that you can do. Now I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you a channel that really is a phenomenal channel that I get a lot of my meditations from. And I think I've given it to you before. This is, and I mentioned him earlier, it's Brian Scott. It's the Reality Revolution. Let me see if I can find him. Oh, here he is. I'm going to share my screen. I would really recommend that if you like the content of the show tonight, if you are interested in embracing your 5D self, if you are interested in letting go and letting God and creating reality, Brian Scott's channel is phenomenal. It's the Reality Revolution. I will link this. Actually, I put this in the chat. I'm going to put it in the chat. Brian Scott's channel is phenomenal. He does a lot of reading. He reads a lot of authors. Now this is what you do. You go to the playlists, and there's all kinds of playlists. There's Neville Goddard. There's Dr. Joseph Murphy. Here's Dr. Joseph Murphy. There's a plethora. Look at Neville Goddard. He also has playlists that are just Neville Goddard or Dr. Joseph Murphy. You can sort by anything. I've been obsessed with he's done a lot of, sorry, I pressed something I didn't want to press. He's been doing a lot of channelings from Daniel Scranton. Daniel Scranton channels the Founders, the Arcturian Council, which I've um, channeled, and the Council. Brian Scott's channel's phenomenal. Okay. He has a phenomenal voice. He reads all these authors. If you want to listen to Neville Goddard's books, lectures, or Dr. Joseph Murphy, or even Joe Dispenza, Brian Scott's channel is phenomenal. You can listen to all the lectures and books. Brian Scott has a beautiful voice. He does a great job. Dr. Joe Dispenza is also on YouTube. He's on Instagram. Joe Dispenza has his own channel. I would recommend Dr. Joe Dispenza. Okay? Those are the people that I watch. All, those affirmations that I do. Every so often I'll do affirmations. All my affirmations I've gotten from Dr. Joseph Murphy. Also on Brian Scott's channel, he has an author by the name of Florence Scovel Shinn. She was a feminine guru before her time, and she also taught reality creation and that we are gods and how to create reality. Okay? These old timers that I just mentioned, Dr. Joseph Murphy, Neville Goddard, Florence Scovel Shinn, they all used the power of God. They believed in God. They weren't necessarily religious, although Dr. Joseph Murphy was a Christian preacher. He was a priest. However, they used the Bible and they used their religion or their belief to create their reality. They embraced their God self and the power of God within to create reality. So, folks, before we go tonight, I wanted to do a recap on how do we say hello to 5D and how do we say goodbye to giving a fuck. It's quite easy. Quite easy. It's all about our focus and our attention. We don't have control of when the solar flash, the ascension, the big noise event, whatever happens. We don't have control over that. We don't have control over the world. But we can control our reality, our world, by our focus and our attention. How do we do this? We take our focus away, our attention away from what we don't want and focus on what we do want. Now, that doesn't mean we lie to ourselves and pretend that somebody didn't die or pretend that something didn't happen that happened. It means we accept it. We feel the negative feelings. We don't judge our feelings. We accept it. It is what it is. We don't internalize it. We don't personalize it and take it personally. It happened. Then we move on. Then we take our attention away from that and just refocus, and put our attention onto something else. That's all that matters. Take our attention off of this, put it onto something else. That means if you're having a fight with your husband and you can't leave, that means maybe you close the door, go in the other room, and put on a nice, funny movie. That means if you're having a bad day at work and your boss is being an asshole, you do what you can and say, you know what, I'm taking a break, and you go walk around the block. You're having a bad day, you take some time out and you go buy yourself a candy bar. You go treat yourself to, I don't know, a movie. You go treat yourself to a new deck of cards. You go do something good for you. You try not to focus on the things that you don't want, and you try to focus on the things that you do want. That is how you create your reality. That is how you become the 5D being. You say hello to 5D, which we are already in. We are vibrating in the 5D frequency, even though technically we in our world have not gone there yet. Now, when I say goodbye to giving a fuck, of course, that doesn't mean that we don't give a fuck about people and that we don't care about people and that we ignore the world. No, no, that doesn't mean that. It means that we stop eternalizing things. We stop taking things personally. We stop giving a fuck about negative circumstances and we surrender and we say, you know what? Me worrying about this, me stressing about this, me hating this and making myself sick over this situation is not going to change the situation. All it's going to do, me focusing on the situation, which is focusing and vibrating up on the energy of the problem, is never going to get me to the solution. It means that I have to accept what is, feel those negative feelings, but I don't wallow in it. I get up, I give myself time, I heal, and each day I heal. I make a choice to do something better, to feel better, to focus my attention on something that makes me happy, something that brings me joy, something that makes me laugh, something that I love. If that means turning off the boob tube and the reality and stop focusing on what's going on and stop watching TikTok and Instagram and turn off Telegram and start watching some funny animal videos of dogs farting or whatever, or animals being stupid, that means that's what you do. If it means that you have to stop adulting so much and become more like a child, that's what you do. We have to stop giving a fuck. That means letting go to expectations. Because when we let the world and people and outside circumstances dictate our emotions, dictate how we feel, we become victim to the world and we lose our power as a creator. That means we're letting people and outside circumstances and the world create for us instead of us creating for us, instead of having God create for us. And that's another thing. As Julie Green always says, and you know I love me some Julie Green. I love my Julie Green. Are you going to listen to God's report or the Cabal report? In other words, our reality is in your perception. We literally know that there are many different worlds, and the worlds have split, and there's one timeline and another timeline. So that means if we keep on listening and accepting and getting emotional with that cabal timeline, that means that we're going to get sucked in. We don't agree to that timeline. No, no, no. I don't agree. Not on my timeline. So as long and as much as we can observe and not feel and not get sucked in, it's so hard. Trust me, it's so hard. I'm a very, very emotional person. All right. I ca- my husband won't go to a movie theater. Not that we've gone to a movie theater in years, because why would you pay money to sit next to strangers and be irritated? You can see everything at home. But when we first got together, I remember he's like, we went to one movie, and we've been together for 12 years. And he said to me, I'm never going to the movies with you again because I was like yelling at the screen. I'm like, he's a jerk. Shut up. Oh, shut up. I would be yelling and screaming at the theater. I'd be so emotionally involved, but that's how I am. When I read people, I'm emotionally call. I laugh with you. I cry with you. I get angry with you. That's why I get so pissed at trolls and I get so bullshit when people mess with people because I don't like bullies because I got bullied my whole life. And people say, well, why, people say, ah, blah, 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 like that troll earlier. That's why I hate trolls because trolls are just bullies. And I learned that if you turn your back on a bully just keeps on bullying you. I learned a long time ago when you look at the bully in the face and you punch him in the face, they back the fuck off. That's why I confront and publicly annihilate trolls because that gets them the fuck gone. It shows them, it stands up to them. but I'm certainly not going to focus on it. I'm going to move on. We do not have to focus. We don't have to give. We don't have to taste or eat everything that everyone's selling. We don't have to behave or act or be anything. Be yourself. Honor yourself. Be different. Be the black sheep. If people don't like them, fuck them. God loves you. God accepts you. God doesn't care if I swear. God doesn't judge me. If God's okay with you and you're okay with you, then fuck the world. That's how you say goodbye with giving a fuck. That means if your family, your friends don't accept you because of who you are, fuck them. They're not good enough for you. We're going to have to start letting go of people and situations that no longer serve us. If we want to be in 5D, we can't have it both ways. We can't hold on to the attachments and cling on to the old 4D people and places and paradigms and attitudes and still want to be in 5D. We have to be willing to let go of attachments, of outcomes, of people and places and things. It's not easy, but we can do it. This is what we signed up for. So, my Soul Tribe family, are you ready to take a journey with me? Because the next couple of weeks, every Saturday show, I am going to do more of these. We're going to tap more into our 5D selves. Each one of these shows on Saturday night, I'm going to tap into and I'm going to teach you how we can more and more embrace our 5D self, live in 5D, create our reality, embrace our spiritual powers. Now, I was originally going to be teaching a class on Tuesday nights, and because I'm going to practice what I preach, I'm not going to go on and talk about the negative things that have gone on in my life and the changes that have happened and the stress that I'm under. But I can't do that. It sucks that I can't do that class anymore. I apologize, but it is what it is. But I'm going to accept it, move on, and I'm going to do what I can. So I'm going to go on and do these shows as much as I can and teach how to embrace, how to meditate, how to become more of your 5D self, how to embrace your power, how to embrace your spiritual gifts, and how to create your reality. Because right now we are major manifestors. But we've been manifesting on the vibration of the world instead of the vibration of God. Excuse me. 1 second. So I can't do a class with you live on Zoom, but I am going to every Saturday night. I will be doing one of these lectures. It will not be about current events. It will be about 5D, embracing our 5D self, about reality creation, because this is what we need. We need lessons and we need to be focusing on our spiritual self, our 5D gifts, because this is what's going to get us through. If we can embrace our 5D powers to manifest the money, to manifest the jobs, to manifest the people and the places and things, we won't feel so disempowered. We won't have to sit there and wait for the RV, to wait for Trump to come back as president, to wait for that job. If we can create our own reality and if we can manifest things that we need and want, we don't have to rely on anyone else other than ourselves. And that's the way God wanted it. God gave us the power of God. Jesus said the power of God is within you. We have that power, but it's dormant. We're not using it. So my mission and my job is to get us going, to teach you how to do it. And when I teach you, I teach myself. I already know how to do this. I've been teaching it for years. I just haven't been teaching it because I've been focusing on the truther 4D current events and the politics and what's happening in the world, which is fine. I needed to do that. I needed to wake up. I was too much in the spirituality, but now I'm going to come back to the spirituality. So I'll still do, excuse me, I'll still do the yes or no tarot show. Okay. And I think what I might do is I might do one night a week. I might do like maybe some mini past life readings. And then on Saturday night, I will do this. I know people are struggling and I know people need little pick me ups. So this is why I'm going to do this. I was also thinking too, there were people that were very much emailed me and they were interested in doing. They said, "Well, Lady D, if you can't do a live Zoom class, can you do taped classes and maybe do a membership?" So if you want to do a membership, like maybe I'll do like $5 or $10 a month, and I'll do it on Buy Me a Coffee because Buy Me a Coffee has memberships. I'm not going to do it on ScrewTube, BoobTube because they take taxes and they take half or whatever. I'll do it on Buy Me a Coffee. Or if you're interested in that, um, send me an email, me or Paula, because I have access to my email, and that's soultherapywithlady@gmail.com. You can also access my email on my website, which is soultherapywithlady.com. So my website is soultherapywithlady.com, and my email is very easy. It's soultherapywithlady@gmail.com. If you're interested in doing that, what I might do if there's enough people, and it seems to be a lot of people want to do the monthly subscription, what I'll do is that I'll pre-tape a course each week. I'll pre-tape a class, and what I'll do is I'll email it to you rather than doing it live. So, a lot of people do that. I know, lots of creators do that, and that's better because what was happening too, it wasn't really fair to my international people. I have a lot of clients that are in Australia, New Zealand, and I have a lot of Soul Tribe members that are in the UK and Europe, and they weren't able to take classes because of the time zone change. So this might be a way to do it so it's fair for everyone. I can't do the live classes because of personal obligations, but what I can do is that I can do taped classes and that you can pay a monthly subscription. So not going to be more than $10, and you get a 2 hour, you get a class a week. And that way everyone can have access to the class, not just people that live in North America. Because what was happening is that when I was going to do the live class anyways, only people that lived in Canada and the US were able to do it because the time zone change didn't work out for those that were in UK, Europe, or Australia, New Zealand. And I have clients and subscribers all over the world. I love it. So if you're interested in that, email me again. My email is on my website. My email's also, if you go to the description of this YouTube channel, my website, my email, everything is in there. In the description of the video, there's my website. Everything's there. So my Soul Tribe family, we have more power than we have been exhibiting. We have more power than we have been utilizing. We have to take back our power, and we take back our power by taking back our vibration. We take back our power by taking back our focus. We have to focus less on what we don't want. That means that we don't fight against it. We don't pretend it's not there. We just acknowledge it and say, yeah, that sucks. That sucks. I don't like it, but it is what it is. But me being pissed off about it, or me being depressed about it is not going to change it. All that is going to do when I'm vibrating on the problem, I'm going to bring more of that vibration. If I'm pissed off and depressed, I'm going to bring more instances and more circumstances and more people that are going to piss me off or depress me. But when I accept what it is and I don't try to change it, and I surrender it and say, the situation sucks, God, but it is what it is. I can't change it, but it is what it is. I'm just going to do the best that I can and try to be happy. And I make choices to make myself happy. I focus on things that bring me joy and positivity. And what happens? You slowly stop focusing on the problem. You start vibrating on the solution, the positivity, and what happens? The solution comes, the people comes, the circumstances and the people that no longer serve you, the assholes and the energy vampires and the people and the circumstances that are negative will fall out of your life. Things will change. You won't have to do anything. You don't have to change circumstances. You don't have to change people. You don't even have to change yourself. All you have to do is change your state. That's the key. Change your state. And what do I mean about changing your state? Changing your vibration, changing what you focus on, change your frequency, because we are like magnets. We attract what is like. Like attracts like. So we are going to attract everything that we are vibrating. If we attract negative people, we're vibrating negatively. If we attract negative things, we are vibrating negatively. No, it's not gaslighting. No matter how good you are, no matter how positive you are, people are going to suck. People are going to walk on you. Bad things are going to happen to good people. But when you are in charge of your vibration, more positive things are going to happen. More good things are going to happen. Less and less negative circumstances are going to happen, and more positive things are going to happen. Trust me, it works. I've done it. Everything that I am telling you tonight, I've done. I've witnessed firsthand. It works. I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in my client's life. I've seen it in my subscribers' life. I've seen it in my friends' lives. It works. And at the very least, what is it going to do? Try it. The worst that can happen is that you're in a good mood. The worst that can happen is that you feel better. And the whole reason why we want anything is because we want to feel better. We want to feel good. So you might as well feel good, because when you feel good, you draw all the circumstances and people and situations that are going to make you feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel so pumped right now. I feel so empowered. Whereas before, even though I know these things, sometimes you forget. Sometimes you get so caught up in your day-to-day life and your routine that you forget the things that you learned. And I forgot the fundamentals. I didn't forget them. I was just focusing more on the bullshit. And I cut the shit. I stopped. So, folks, let's go on this journey together. Are you with me? Who's with me? Let's embrace our 5D selves. Let us create our reality. Let us be the master manifestors. Let us not let the world and other circumstances and people, places, and things and the current global circus and the current events and the politicians, don't let them create your reality. Don't let them upset your timeline. Let's do this ourselves. Focus more on what you want. Switch your focus and your attention from the things that depress you, the negative things, to the things that you like. It's that simple. It's a simple choice, a little shift in your attention, a little shift in your focus. Every decision, and every hour, and every day, that's it. It's all you need to do. You all with me? I love you guys. I know this was a different show tonight. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I love you all so much. I know it's not the we contenti don we caliente. I get it. I know people are used to having me, you know, read cards, and I will still Exactly. I like it. The bullshit detox, love and light. I'll still do my cards. But folks, thank you. I really think I just noticed, especially with my clients. You have to remember, I read people. I'm reading all day long. I read clients all the time. Sometimes I need a break from it. And I know that you guys want to know when this is happening, when that's happening. Okay, we'll have shows like that. All right. I promise I'll do shows like that. But I really feel like God and Yeshua are really putting on my heart. And just from all of my sessions with people, I really see how people are really struggling. And just by all the comments and the chat, how people, they're waiting for the RV. When is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? When is that going to happen? When is this going to happen? We can't sit here and wait for things to happen. We can't put our lives on hold and give our power to outside people and circumstances. Focus on what you want. Before you go to bed at night, create a little scene. It doesn't have to be anything long. Right before you go to bed, like I said, you have right before you go to bed and when you get up. That's when you have a lot, that's when you at your most potent for manifestation power because you have those brain waves. You're out of that 4D egoic and you're in your spirit brainwaves. You're in the brainwaves. I forget, it's called alpha. I think it's delta, right? You go from alpha, beta, and delta. Okay. So your brainwaves switch and you're in spirit mode. So right before you go to bed, as you're drifting off to sleep, just think about a 30-minute scene. Let's say you want to manifest your a husband. So you right before you go to bed, you picture a scene as if like you're marrying. Picture, if you don't even know the guy, picture saying, I do and I do. Picture a little flash of you getting married and just keep on picturing that 30-minute flash and feel the feelings. And then maybe feel the feeling of walking into your home and really be there and feel it and feel the emotion and then drift off to sleep. And then when you get up in the morning, same thing. Or let's say, for instance, that you're waiting to hear about a job. So right before you go to bed at night, you picture getting a phone call and hearing from that person saying, hey, you got the job and the salary. And then you picture it when you get up in the morning. Or let's say you want to create for someone else. You can certainly create for someone else. Let's say you want to create you have a friend and she's always down and out and she needs money. So, and she doesn't have any money. So you picture her getting a windfall. So you picture her going to her mailbox and receiving a check that she hasn't received. Or picture her getting a phone call and winning the lottery. You can do anything. It doesn't have to be this long because a long like this huge visualization. You don't have to be like a master visualization person. You don't have to, because some people can't visualize. Some people can't, they have a problem with their imagination. They're not really good at make believe. So if you're not a good visualization, if you're not a good imagination person, you're not a good imaginer, so to speak, just picture like a 30-minute scene or picture getting an email from the person you want to hear from, or picture getting the knock on the door and seeing the person that you want to see. Just a 30-minute scene, any type of scene that would to you mean that your desired has come true, that your desire has come true, whatever it is. Picture that scene right before you go to bed as you drift off to sleep. When you get up in the morning, instead of picking up your phone, do a 30-minute flash, do a meditation, a couple of affirmations of prayer, and then picture just a 30-minute flash of getting that phone call, getting that letter, getting that news, or you can manifest with someone else. Picture that. That's all you have to do. Go through your day. Try to do the best that you can. Try, if someone pisses you off, say your piece. You don't have to be, I'm never going to tell you to turn the other cheek. Always assert yourself, stand up for yourself, but then keep on going. Keep on walking. Get up on the horse. If you have a bad day, try to take away your focus from the people, the problems, the bullshit, and try to focus on what you love. Try to focus on the things. Divert your attention from the bad to the good. If you can walk away, fine. If you can take a step away from a bad situation, if you can step away, fine. If you can't, find little things to divert your attention. Breathe, breathe. Take deep breaths. Deep breathing is so easy to do, and it's you physically, physiologically, you cannot be nervous or stressed when you breathe heavy. So if you take deep breaths in and out, slow down, breathe, then you can take that attention off the negativity and focus on something that you want to bring in. This is how you are a 5D being. This is how you embrace your 5D self. This is how you become the infinite creator you already are. This is how you become the 5D light being that you already are. You are it. You need to embrace it. You have to become it. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. You just have to vibrate on the same frequency as your 5D self. You just have to vibrate on the same frequency of your wish, of your desire. Once you vibrate on that frequency, it's like two magnets. It has to happen. It can't not happen. Now, the key, though, and here's the rub about the manifestation part. You can't worry about timing. You have to give up timing. I know you want it yesterday. I know you need that money now. I know the bills need to be paid at a certain time of month. Give up the timing. It will happen at perfect timing. Even if it's at the 11th hour, give up the time. Let go of worry. Because when you worry about something, all worrying is putting attention on what you don't want. When you worry, what are you focusing on? You're focused on what you don't want. So you're going to bring what you don't want. Not only are you going to bring that, you're going to bring on more situations that you don't want. So don't worry. That's what I mean with say goodbye to giving a fuck. Because what happens when you give a fuck? When you give a fuck and when you hold on to that, it doesn't happen. Before I go, I want to give you a little example about not giving a fuck and how about not caring makes your manifestations happen much, much quicker. In fact, it can happen real time. But it's when we go against the brain, when we hold on to things, and we hold on to how things should happen and desired outcomes, when we're stuck on that energy and we try to force things and try to force things in square pegs into round holes, and we don't let go when we don't let God and we don't vibrate on it. Things happen so easily when we just let go, when we don't give a fuck, when we don't care, when we let go of attachment to outcomes. And here's the example. One of Neville Goddard's students, okay? He was a stockbroker. He was doing really, really shitty. And he went to Neville Goddard and said, I'm not making any money. Everyone is making money and I'm doing poorly. I never can pick a winner. I'm getting ready to lose my job now. I've lost clients. My boss has told me if I don't start making money, I'm going to lose my job. So what was Neville Goddard's advice and solution? It was this. He said, I want you to open up a fake account, a fake betting account. Can you do that with not real money and just pretend you're betting? He said, sure, I can do a dummy account and just pretend. Okay. Every day, I want you to pretend that you are loaded, that you are the most richest person in the world, and I want you to put money into that account and pretend not and just don't care. Just pretend it's not yours. Pretend and pretend that you are the richest person in the world. In other words, he made a dummy account. Okay. He bet on it. He used fake money, but he pretended as if that was really his. He was rich and he was betting like a rich person. In other words, he took this account. He didn't care. He didn't give a fuck because it wasn't real. Okay. At the end of, he said, do this for 3 months. I want you to do your regular clients and I want you to do this fake account. It didn't even take 3 months. 2 weeks later, he came back to Neville Garden and he said, you're not going to believe this. He said, in the fake account, it's made so much money, I can't keep up. So what did I do? I took all my investment strategies from the fake account and I put it into my real account and I made tons of money. I made clients money. And now, not only do I have a job, my boss is considering promoting me. See what happens when you don't give a fuck? He had no attachment to that account because it was a fake account. It wasn't his money. It wasn't real money. It wasn't real trades. It wasn't real anything. He had no attachment to it. He didn't give a fuck because he didn't think it was real. And what do you think would happen? He made so much money because he didn't give a shit. That's what we have to do. We have to live every day like we don't give a fuck. Because when we don't give a fuck, when we let go of attachment to outcomes, when we let go of stress and worries and what could be, when we let go of the worst possible scenarios because we don't want to bring it upon, things fall into place. When we get out of the way and let infinite intelligence take the wheel, our dreams come true. Our wishes happen. The things that we want happen because we are not fighting against it. We're not putting our energy and focus against it. We're focusing our vibration and our attention on the solution and not the problem. So, my Soul Tribe family, let's focus on the solutions and not the problems. Let's say hello to 5D by not giving a fuck. How freeing is it? I'll tell you, you start to feel a lot better when you take away the anxiety, the stress, the burdens of having to control everything, having to do everything, having to figure out every single step and how I'm going to do this. If I have a goal, how am I going to get this done? How am I going to meet this? This is impossible. Nothing's impossible with God. If you let go, if you let God, if you get out of your own way, if you surrender to what is and where you are, and let divine inspiration guide you, and don't take any steps or actions out of fear, but take actions and steps when you are inspired by God, intuition, and nudges. When you don't do anything until you get your inspiration from God, and when you let go and you don't focus on the things that you don't want, but focus on the things that you do want, you'll be surprised at how amazing your life can be and how you can transform your life. And you don't have to do it for anyone else other than you. And you don't have to rely on anyone else other than you. That is true power. That is being truly sovereign. And that is truly embracing your God self and your divine DNA and your spiritual gifts. So we're going to have more lectures like this on Saturday night. So my Soul Tribe family, thank you for joining me tonight. I love you all so much. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I will be on with the Prince of Peace tomorrow night. Check the thumbnail on the Light Warrior Network. If you are interested in the taped classes I'll be doing master manifestation courses and how to tap into your spiritual gifts. If you're interested in since I can't do the classes on Tuesday nights, I can't do the Zoom classes anymore. If you are interested in having me tape them, and I can send them to you via video. That way, everyone around the world, you don't just have to be living in North America to be a part of the class. Let me know. What I'll do is I'll have Paula set it up on Buy Me a Coffee. We'll do a monthly subscription. You'll get a taped class per week. And yeah, we'll do each class. I think I'll start off the first 3 weeks. We'll do tapping into spiritual gifts, but then I'll do more about manifestation. I'll do more about the principles of Dr. Joseph Murphy and Neville Goddard and Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. I can talk. And we'll do more about tapping into our creative reality and how to manifest reality. Folks, I manifest going on with Jason. I manifest my channel. I manifest my subscribers, all my clients. I've manifest money to pay bills. Everything that I'm teaching you, they're not just concepts, they're things, they're active techniques. They are techniques that have worked, that I have practiced, that I know that work and they're true and I've used in my own life. So if you're interested in that, send me an email. Paula will check the email. All right, my Soul Tribe family, I love you so much. Thank you for joining tonight. And remember, we're already in 5D. How to embrace your 5D self? Practice the art of not giving a fuck. It's fun, it relieves stress, and you'll feel great when you let go and you surrender to God. Because remember, Soul Tribe family, don't ever limit God by seeing limitations in yourself. With God and yourself, all things are possible. Remember that. All right, Soul Tribe family, I love you. I will see you tomorrow. Be good, but not too good. Make it interesting. God bless you. I love you. Bye.